Welcome to On Deck with the Ketts, the official show of the Cotuit Kettleers, taking you through everything happening around Lowell Park and all throughout the village. Now here's your Cotuit media team for this episode of On Deck with the Ketts.
Welcome into On Deck with the Ketts, the official podcast of the Cotuit Kettleers. Hi, everybody. I'm Tyler Danburg, pleased to be joined alongside by Rylee Pay and Joe Pratt. We will be the broadcast team for the upcoming 2023 Cotuit Kettleer season. Rylee, Joe, how are you guys?
Doing well. Excited to get going. Another season in Cotuit. It seems like it can't come fast enough. So really excited to get back out there.
Yeah, definitely really fun to start, especially this early. Obviously, a lot of time before the season, but really excited to already kind of get into baseball discussion.
Well, our first guest of the season is Matt Mervis of the Chicago Cubs organization, a great guest to get this 2023 season started. Mervis spent the 2019 season with Cotuit and helped lead the Kettleers to their 17th championship. Last year with High A South Bend and Double A Tennessee, Mervis led the minors in runs batted in and extra base hits and was the Cubs minor league player of the year. Matt, thanks for taking the time out to join us.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to talk baseball.
So let's start with your baseball journey. Take us through a little bit of that so far throughout your playing career.
Yeah, so in college, I was a two-way. I didn't really hit a whole lot my first 2 years, and then got the opportunity to play for Coach Roberts in Cotuit after my junior year, and I give him a ton of credit for developing me into a professional hitter. I still use his hitting cues and think about what he taught me when I'm struggling or I don't feel great in the batter's box. So I give him a ton of credit and owe him a lot. But even in 21, I didn't have a great season. My first year in professional baseball, I was in low A the whole year. Didn't have great numbers, and then this year, like you said, started in high A and just hit well and felt good the whole year.
And Matt, after not being drafted, what was that kind of feeling like afterwards, and how did it feel to have a major league deal come to you?
In 2019, it was tough not being drafted. That was my junior year. I didn't hit a whole lot the first 2 years, but I hit pretty well, or I thought well enough that year to be drafted. But obviously that didn't happen, so I was disappointed. But I used that opportunity to go to Cape Cod and work with Coach Roberts and really get better instead of, take the summer off, maybe go find an internship or something like that. I never lost confidence in my ability to play professional baseball. So I used that 2019 draft as motivation. And then in 2020, it was disappointing, but not as surprising, with the draft only being 5 rounds. So still motivation, obviously, being an undrafted player, but I think the 2019 draft was more fuel for me.
And last year, having the season that you did with South Bend, Tennessee, and then with the AAA I Cubs in Des Moines, what did last season and being honored as the Cubs minor league player of the year mean to you?
It meant a lot. Obviously, 21 didn't go the way I thought it would. I had this expectation coming into professional baseball that I'm a hitter now, so all I'm going to do is hit and hit well. So that was some reality set in, and I had to struggle and work through that to understand that it's not going to be an easy path. Everyone's got a different route to major leagues, and I was going to have to deal with my adversity and hardships whenever they come. So bouncing back from that year and having a good season this year and continuing it all the way up to AAA and then into the Arizona Fall League, it meant a lot that the Cubs honored me with that award.
And you touched on this a little bit already, but you had a big jump at the plate from 2021 to 2022, your OPS specifically increasing by close to 300 points in that span alone. So what kind of adjustments did you make that went into that type of growth for you?
A lot of it in the off season was just focusing on simplifying my swing. I felt too mechanical last year, always kind of tinkering with things in the batter's box and trying to hit pitches a certain way or using a certain mechanic, which is just it's too hard to do. The pitchers are too good and they throw too hard to try to hit a fastball thinking about a certain mechanic. So I really tried to simplify in the off season, and once I got into the game, just let whatever swing I had that day go to work and make the adjustments as I needed to.
Is that going to be the same focus for you this offseason?
Yeah, just keep building on what I started last year, and obviously there were some things this season as I rose through the levels that teams started attacking me a certain way, and I had to make adjustments off of them. So um, the Cubs and I will work together to put together a good plan once I start hitting again and focus on the things that need improvement. But definitely that'll be the basis of it, just keeping things simple and not overcomplicating.
And now to switch gears just a little bit, in several articles about your most recent season, there are many references to your nickname MASH. So while your numbers kind of speak for themselves in that way, can you give us the backstory on that nickname and how did that come about?
So the story that I've been going with is Cubs writer Evan Altman showed up in Indianapolis, where actually I saw Coach Roberts there with the Pirates. But Evan and the son were wearing homemade Matt Mervis t-shirts. And so I'd seen the name floated on Twitter before, but he showed up with those shirts. And I think that's when it started taking off. I think he posted a picture, I retweeted it. Some people started calling me that, so I guess it's stuck.
Yeah, you got the brand going. That's a good one to have. Definitely.
And back to your Cape League days, Matt, just what sort of things did you learn in Cotuit that you still use to this day, maybe on and off the field?
Yeah, on the field, I spent a lot of time with Coach Roberts pregame, just working on my swing, my stance, all sorts of stuff. When I got there, my hands were way up on my shoulder and further back, just thinking that would give me more power. Um, but he was working with the Cubs at the time, so he was working with guys like Rizzo and Schwarber, who obviously have pretty simple setups and their hands are kind of low in front of their shoulders. So he pointed those guys out to me and said, "Look, they don't lose any power with this simple setup." So I adopted what they do, and it's really that helped simplify my swing a lot. And then just mechanically, he focused a lot on my hips and making sure I finished my swing. And then off the field, um, we had a really good group that year. A lot of guys that got along and hung out off the field. So I would go over to Dante Williams' host family's house and just hang out there, have dinner with them once in a while. I became good friends with Parker Chavers, who's now with the Cubs. Um, other guys. I saw Nick Gonzalez plenty in the fall league too. So, um, just creating relationships with guys that we were only there for however many weeks, but um, being open, being a good teammate, and creating relationships with those guys that'll last in the future.
And you've referenced Coach Roberts a little bit already, but just in general, what was your experience like playing for him, and what did he teach you about the game in terms of perspective, and how did he help you as a player?
Yeah, like I said, he's helped me a ton. I give him a lot of credit. I still talk to him probably 10 times during the season. We just text back and forth a little bit. The main thing he talked about that I remember from 2019 is polish, just being a polished player, polishing your skills. Um, generally just understanding the game, being a good baseball player and not just a good athlete. So I took a lot of that from him, and a lot of it had to do with self-reflection. Like, this is what I need to work on. Not having too much pride to think that I'm already good at something, I don't need to work on it. Like, guys in the big leagues are better at it than I am. So just continuing to polish your skills and become a well-rounded player.
Yeah, that surely is one of Coach Roberts' favorite terms, polish. But I want to know what sort of things did you learn during the Cape League to kind of help you get a feel for what professional baseball is going to be like?
My Cape season was interesting because I think we had rain 5 out of the first 7 days we were there, something like that. So we didn't get any off days. We were practicing in the mornings and then playing in the afternoons. I think it was 4 o'clock first pitches. So it's like a minor league season. You show up to the field every day. I know the schedule changed a little bit in the minors and we have Mondays off, but at the time it was you show up every day and you practice in the morning, you have some time off to eat, and then you go play a game. So it really got me ready to play that schedule and be ready to come to the field every day, whether or not I feel good hitting or defensively. You got to work through it in warmups and then perform in the game.
Matt, you were a part of that 2019 team that defeated Harwich for the Cape League Championship. What was it like to be a part of that team, and what was it like to also have a really good series? You hit a home run in that series. So what was it like to be a part of a team that special?
It was a lot of fun. I mean, like I said earlier, we all created good relationships with each other. We became friends by the end of the season. And at that point, a lot of guys had played a full college season and a full summer season. You want to go home and relax, get off your feet before school starts again. But we were in it to win. We didn't just want to go home because at the end of the day, it's like 4 days, 4 extra days that you would miss if you hadn't made the playoffs or the championship series. So we were a really competitive group. We wanted to win. We were all good baseball players, obviously. So it was great. I think at the end, Casey Schmidt and I each homered in the deciding championship game. So we were kind of jabbing at each other in the dugout, and then his second at bat, he had another home run. So he might have even closed it out too. So I remember he won playoff MVP. So just a little trash talk between us at the end, but Casey and I are still good friends too. So just a ton of fun playing for that team.
And now, as you look back on your career so far and your time as a Kettleer, what is the piece of advice that you would give to incoming Kettleers or players just looking to play at the next level?
Specifically for Kettleers, I'd say listen to Coach Roberts. Some guys get there and fight it because they think it's summer baseball and I'm just going to go play my game and do what I do. So, obviously there are guys that are really talented, but he's been around the game for a really long time. He knows what he's talking about. And all he wants to do is two things. He wants to win and he wants to help you get better. So I couldn't have asked for a better coach to play for that season, especially when I needed my own development. And just in general for guys that want to play, I'd say take your diet seriously, take your sleep seriously. Those are two things that we really talked about a lot in college and that have stuck with me. So just making sure you're healthy, feeling good every day so you can get up and play.
Matt, you mentioned that you started out as a two-way player when you first got there, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
What sort of things did you take from the pitching aspect of the game that kind of helped you out when you would go up to the plate?
I think I got really lucky with the pitching coaches that we had in college. We had two different coaches, one my freshman year and one my sophomore and junior year, who are now major league pitching coaches. So really good pitching minds. And so when we would inter squad in the fall, obviously I'm getting really good pitch sequences when I'm hitting. And then when we would game plan against hitters, they had a ton of good ideas that I had never thought of. Obviously, I had a good arm, but I never really pitched a whole lot. So just learning from them and carrying that over into kind of understanding how pitching coaches are trying to get me out now.
You mentioned pitching a little bit at Duke, even pitching a little bit in Cotuit. If you had to take the mound right about now, how would you describe Matt Mervis, the pitcher?
I'm going to throw a lot of fastballs. I always did. That was my best pitch. It was what I trusted the most. So I'm going to try to throw it hard and hopefully throw it by you and see what happens.
Well, thank you again to Matt Mervis, the Chicago Cubs organization. Best of luck to you this season, heading into spring training and then into the regular season. So special thanks to Matt Mervis for joining us on the first episode of the season of On Deck with the Ketts. For Joe Pratt, for Rylee Pay, and Matt Mervis, I'm Tyler Danburg signing up. We'll talk to you next time on Deck with the Ketts.